Okay, today's project is we're putting on these S&S PowerTune dual headers on the latest acquisition to the stable, which happens to be a 2016 Road Glide Ultra. And I figured since my wife had a blue bike, that one there, that's a 2010 Ultra Limited, that she couldn't have a newer, nicer bike than mine, which was this old 2001 here. It's for sale if anybody wants to buy it. It's a good old bike. Anyway, so I'm going to try to get this one souped up without getting too carried away. That high output 103 runs pretty good. But first thing you got to do, obviously, get your bags off. There's the bags. And then take the mufflers off. Yep. There's the mufflers. And then heat shields, floorboard on this side. And then, of course, get up in there and get the exhaust bolts out. All that sort of thing. But for now, I just want to kind of get things going here, started. And we'll keep going here as things progress. Okay, just kind of a little hint here. I've been trying every damn thing I got in my box to get at that front exhaust flange bolt and wound up having to go with a 1/4-inch drive short socket to get on it. And this one, it's kind of in through the fins there, I guess you could sort of see. I was able to get at it with this contraption, and I didn't use the impact to loosen it, I just used the impact to spin it off. But this being a twin-cooled bike, these lowers are, well, they're right in the way. And so anyway, you got to kind of go up through here to get at that lower exhaust flange bolt. But anyway, so just a little bit of a tip there. If anybody's going to try to do this, you got to get on that one with a 1/4-inch drive. Okay, now down in here, there is a carriage bolt. And as you can see, this bike, I bought it out in Seattle, and it spent some time, well, first 7 years of its life were out there in and around the salt air, and a lot of this stuff is really kind of rusty. But I was able to get underneath the nut on the other end of that, and it broke loose, but I'm going to have to get on that with some vice grips, the top of that carriage bolt there, because as you can see here, it kind of, I need something to hold on to it. So anyway, I'm going to put some vice grips on there and should be able to rattle that nut all the way off. Okay, so there I got my needle nose vice grips on there. Let's see what happens. Okay, after a little cussing and threatening to throw things, that thing is out. So, there, damn thing. Alright, now I guess back here, I gotta take that bracket loose, because I reuse it apparently. And this exhaust system should be almost ready to come out. Okay, as you can see, the pipe is now out, mostly. But what needs to be focused on here now is the O2 sensors. There is a sensor down here. This one, in this case here, the lower one is actually the front pipe, and the upper one is the rear pipe. But what I'm going to do, because these connections are black and gray, I'm going to put a black and white zip tie around the connections, so at least I know which one goes where. So we'll get that done and finish recording here in a minute. Well, here's the whole kit. All the hardware and stuff down there. Looks like it's pretty straightforward. Just a matter of making sure those plugs are tight. Those are for the wideband O2 sensors, which I don't have. And then you got to just put some anti-seize on the original ones. Put them back in those 12mm ports. And tab A into slot B, and off we go. Okay, you can see the header is loosely installed. The back cylinder has to go on first. You stick that up in there. You got to make sure you reuse the exhaust flanges, which is, let's see if I can get my finger up in there where it can be seen. Yeah, get over here. Right there. You got to reuse that on both head pipes, and then there's a retainer clip that goes underneath that. And the back side of this is recessed to accommodate that retainer clip. You know, this side is flat, as you can see. But anyway, so yeah, this took probably 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, because you got to put the back one on first, and then you got to try to horse this thing up in there. And what I wound up doing, to make it a little easier, is I just pried. I used my breaker bar, the rubber end of that, to kind of pry against the cam chest cover, and that'll push that pipe forward, and then you can kind of push it back, and it'll drop right into the exhaust port there. But it was kind of a bear cat to get it in, but it's in there now. So now all we got to do is come along back here and mount all this business in here, and then probably in the next couple hours, I'm guessing it probably ought to be done. But you know, here in Montana, we're rapidly running out of our riding season. You can kind of see out there, well, there's no snow on the ground yet, but it's rained all day, so I thought, well, rather than stacking firewood, I'm going to do this, because I very much enjoy working on motorcycles. I don't very much enjoy stacking firewood, but you know, that's how that works. Okay, so we had to reuse these two Allen head screws that go into the back of the transmission case that hold the crossover pipe in place there. But where the hell? I guess the old one's over in the vise. This should flow a whole lot better. I mean, that's a fully round pipe, whereas the other one is flatter than a pancake and doesn't really breathe much. And of course, there's no cat in it or nothing else. This P-clip right here was kind of a project. You're supposed to use their provided bracket there, but I spaced it out and put the pipe on before I remembered that I should have taken that old one off. But it'll work just fine as far as that part's concerned, but it's pretty well there. Just have to get everything kind of put together as far as the slip-ons and all that, you know, the mufflers, I mean, and get things mounted, and then just work from the front to the back, tightening things down just a little bit at a time. Make sure you bring those nuts on the exhaust studs there in evenly, and everything ought to just go right back into place here. But we'll get this buttoned up here. We're about on the last leg of it. Get the bags and stuff on and see what it looks like. Alright, we got everything tightened up. Those exhaust flange nuts worked terrible, but that one back there, well, it sucked. Because with that new 18mm bung and plug and all that, you can't get a socket back on it. So that was a box end wrench the whole way tight. And then this front one, of course, I demonstrated that before. You could get right in there on that with a number of extensions and a deep well, and then the other side was a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch socket, 1/4 inch drive, 1/2 inch socket to get a little bit of a swing each time. It was a lot easier from the left-hand side of the bike, but so far I'm pretty impressed. I'm really impressed by that because the factory pipe, I got such a damn mess in here. I need a maid. Anyway, you can see there, that crossover is just about flat. So, anyway, that's the old one. And this bike's only got 10,000 miles, not even 10,000 on it, I guess about 9,600 or something. And we'll get all the heat shields on and get everything cleaned up. Whatever you do, if somebody else is going to do this job, do not start this thing until you clean all of the gunk off of here like that. If you don't, it'll be there forever, and there's no steel wool, no nothing ever going to get it off. So anyway, we'll get these heat shields on and get it cleaned up a little bit and finish this video. Okay, she's all done. I like the way it looks. It's not too obnoxious, looks pretty close to factory, but I mean, you're there. It don't get any better than that, unless of course it's that. So I guess now we'll see what happens here. Here we go.